I have not played and completed very many games, much less any difficult games. So in order to make that change, I am undertaking the 1 through 10 difficulty challenge. I must complete one game of increasing difficulty from 1 out of 10 all the way to 10 out of 10, each game earning their own video. In the last video, I completed a game about digging a hole for the 1 out of 10 difficulty, so now it's time to move on to the 2 out of 10 difficulty game. The game that I chose for this difficulty was a game called Indika. Indika is basically a walking simulator with a few puzzles sprinkled in that my sleep-deprived brain could never figure out, especially when it comes to the achievements. I picked games I really didn't know much of anything about, and I also didn't bother reading any game descriptions, and honestly, only picked Indika because I thought the cover was interesting. This game made me regret that decision. Most of the achievements aren't story-related, and are instead earned from miscellaneous activities. Indika has a level select, so I decided to play through the game first just to experience the story, then go through the level select and clean up the achievements. However, the most optimal way to play through the game is to do it all in one playthrough, which is very much doable in 3 hours according to PSN profiles, and 4 to 5 hours according to true achievements. The first level was not a good first impression for me. Walk from one point to another, then back to the original, then get tasked with getting water for someone, so slowly walk to a well and back 5 times just for all the water to get dumped out. Yeah, I realized after this that I made a bit of a mistake. Since I already picked the game, I knew I had to commit to it, but I already had a feeling I would not enjoy the experience. In level 2, there's an achievement for drowning 5 times, so while I was being too stupid to figure out the puzzle, I decided to pop the achievement.
Makes sense.
Level 5 would be the first of a few minigame levels, which was a race against our father. This level is probably the most enjoyment I got out of the whole game, just because I absolutely love racing. In fact, some of the games later on in the series will be racing games, but that won't be for a long while. After the first hour of playing, I just did not want to play the game. I just didn't find it fun at all. There are also just some dreadful levels. Level 10 was the first level that I absolutely hated. I don't remember very much about it. All I wrote down was that I got the achievement for praying while being chased by a dog in this level, because I just didn't want to play it again. The next few levels were alright, and we got to level 13, which will give us our first story-related achievement. This level also has what the guide labeled as the hardest achievement, Jeweler, for passing this fish section without falling off once. I would go for this later. At the end of the level, we would give Abstinence achievement along with a cutscene that I don't actually know how much of I can show. Level 14 would also give a story-related achievement. The only thing I wrote down for this level was Levitating Cripple. I just thought this was kind of funny. At the end of the level, I got the achievement John Damascus. The next level was another minigame where you have to jump on these frogs across a pond. However, the frogs dip in water from time to time, meaning that you need to not absolutely suck. For the people who do absolutely suck like me, there's an achievement for falling in the water 10 times. Of course, I got this achievement by complete accident, just by sucking. So, what I would recommend for this level, do not use the joystick. It is so much easier to jump around if you use the D-pad. The next level, spoiler alert, I did not like. Level 16 has an achievement called Full Set for finding the pair of Bast shoes, so I found the shoes and popped the achievement. At this point, I was getting fed up with the gameplay and the puzzles, so I decided to just give the last couple achievements before cleanup. Level 17 has an achievement for finding a certain book, which is just off the main path of the level. It's quite an easy achievement to get, so I yoinked the book and got the achievement. Level 18 is the last minigame, and it was just painful for me. We break into Indika's dad's shop as her lover to steal some money so we, being Indika and the other guy, can run off. We are found by Indika's dad though, who chases us around as we have to pick up all the money off the ground and run out the door while having wrenches thrown at us. Being hit by a wrench makes you drop a portion of coins, and running into her dad makes you drop all of the coins. I was just about to walk out the door before everything fell apart. After a couple more minutes, I got out of the door and finished the level. The last story-related achievement is in the very last level and unlocks after watching the credits. I only found this out after skipping the credits, then realizing I didn't get the achievement, so I found after a Google search that it unlocks after the credits. I think that about sums up the game in my opinion, but now that I had completed all the levels, it was time for some cleanup. Alright, we're gonna speedrun the last few achievements. Level 1 has an achievement called Sisterly Love for knocking over this ladder. Level 2 has 2 achievements, one for finding this icon above cave entrance, and one more achievement for passing this little hellish section with only one prayer. This achievement is kind of an interesting achievement because it requires either little brain power or a guide on YouTube. Spoiler alert, I went with a guide route. Level 3 is 2 achievements as well, one for praying for this guy in the train wreck who looks a little worse for wear. And another achievement for knocking the safe around a few times, which knocked around a piano on the other floor a few times. This piano achievement is stupid because, to my knowledge, there's nothing indicating that this is what you're supposed to do. Level 11 has an achievement for crushing all the boxes of this crane thing, one that can almost be done by naturally going through this area.
Watch it!
Finally, level 13 has 2 achievements related to this fish dry section, one achievement for falling in 5 times. Then an achievement for never falling in for fish dry, which can be done after restarting the level. This achievement was flagged as the hardest, but in all honesty, it was pretty damn easy. Then all we had to do was go back to the last level and watch for credits to get the achievement and finish the game. As soon as this trophy pops, we're done. Dude, how long? This has to be the end of the credits. Yeah. There it is. It's done. I can uninstall this shit from my Xbox now. Now that I had all the achievements, what did I think about the game? In 4 words, this game fucking sucked. The game takes more of a focus on the story and the narrative, which I learned just isn't the type of game that I enjoy very much. I haven't played many games of puzzles, so I can't speak on the puzzles, but I didn't find them to be very enjoyable personally. Overall, I just did not like the gameplay and I didn't really follow the story very much. I found the story to just be confusing. One thing I will give the game is that it doesn't look that bad. It isn't the best game I've ever seen by any means, but it doesn't look that bad. Towards the last half of the game, I ended up just playing through the game with my brain shut completely off. I just didn't feel anything while playing. And then all of a sudden, the game was over. I don't remember much of the game, hence why this isn't really a story recap and more of my experience with the game. Overall though, the game just isn't fun for me and I personally wouldn't recommend it. I do want to say though that just because I didn't enjoy the game doesn't mean that it's a bad game. And one thing I will say is that the whole idea, despite me not really understanding what was going on, does seem like an interesting concept. Now that this experience is over, however, it's time to move on to a 3 out of 10 difficulty.